I'm Steve Parry. This is Biblical Anarchy, and I don't do live videos. I am responding to a live stream that Pastor Mike Winger did earlier today, and when I record these videos, I do them more or less as if they're live. I sit here and record the video, and if I say something dumb in the first 2 or 3 minutes, then you'll probably never hear it. I will just start over and go on. But a lot of my videos are 15, 20, 30 minutes long. And if I'm 10 minutes in and I say something dumb, I'm sorry. I'm not redoing the whole video. I don't have a lot of time for this. Pastor Mike Winger, on the other hand, does live videos. And so if he makes a mistake 20, 30, 50 minutes into a video, he's kind of stuck with it. He doesn't even have the option. I say this because in his live stream earlier today, something went wrong. The stream was about a meme about Jesus. That's a whole nother conversation. Towards the end of the video, he was talking about, would Jesus support a holy war? Here's what he had to say.
If we asked Jesus, however, if he'd support a different kind of holy war, I think his answer would be yes. So would Jesus support any war that God supports or commands?
Would Jesus support any war that God supports or commands? That is very problematic from a Trinitarian perspective, obviously, and Mike Winger is a Trinitarian. However, it seems like he caught it because this is what immediately followed.
So if you could ask Jesus this question, he was about to bother answering you. Jesus, hypothetically, if the Father endorses a war, are you going to support that war?
Much better. If the Father endorses. Now, see, the first question from a Trinitarian perspective, if God supported a war, Jesus, would you support the war? Well, Jesus is supposed to be God. I'm not a Trinitarian, but to a Trinitarian, Jesus is supposed to be God. So, like, God, would you support your own war? Yeah, I presume so. He follows it up here with the Father, a different person of the being, right? That's how Mike Winger, I have watched his video on the Trinity. The way he describes it is 3 persons, 1 being. So the Father and Jesus, being separate persons of the being, could have this conversation. It's still an odd question. And then here's the next thing he says.
This one seems like a no-brainer. If God were to actually, the real God who created all things, were to actually say, that war is right. Of course, Jesus would support that, right? He's not going to be in disagreement with the Father. Jesus is God.
If the real God said, this war is right, Jesus would support it. What? The real God? Again, if you take that statement, he's asking, would Jesus support the real God? Is Jesus not the real God? Now, even more problematic, he qualifies the real God, the God who created all things. Now, I went ahead and pulled this up, and I'm not going to put this up on the screen for you. You can look it up yourself at gotquestions.org. This is a biblical apologetic, a Christian apologetic website. The question, is Jesus the creator? The answer, Genesis 1:1 says that God created the heavens and the earth. Then Colossians 1:16, I'll go ahead and read that verse here since we can hover it. Whoops, I clicked on it. Let's hover it. Colossians 1:16, for by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. And this is speaking of Jesus. So Colossians 1:16 gives the added detail that God created all things through Jesus Christ. The plain teaching of Scripture, therefore, is that Jesus is the creator of the universe. They go on to say the mystery of the triune God is difficult to understand, yet it is one of the doctrines revealed in Scripture. Yeah, I mean, if it's revealed, it shouldn't be that difficult to understand. the argument that they make is that it is clearly laid out in Scripture, and yet it's a mystery. You know, these things, this is why I'm not a Trinitarian. These things are incompatible to me. But when you listen to Pastor Mike Winger's video right there, it seems like, listen, he's got I think it's like an hour-long video on the Trinity. I've watched it several times. He clearly understands. He can articulate the doctrine of the Trinity. Now, I personally have a book on the atomic bomb. I can actually tell you how an atomic bomb is made. Can't make one myself. If you gave me the necessary equipment and ingredients, I would either blow myself up or get radiation poisoning, okay? Because I have an intellectual understanding of how the bomb works, don't know how to make one. That's how Mike comes across in his video. As if he has the intellectual understanding of the Trinity, but in his mind, there's a gulf between the Father and the Son. Folks, it is an incoherent question from a Trinitarian standpoint, to ask Jesus if he would support a war if God endorsed it. To then say the real God, the God who created all things, when Colossians 1:16, John 1, in my opinion, now maybe the Greek grammar, maybe I don't know, but it appears that John 1 is also teaching that Jesus created all things. It seems to be a clear teaching of the New Testament that Jesus is the creator. So again, to ask the creator, the real God, well, Mike would say Jesus is the real God, the God who created all things. I don't know if he disagrees with Colossians here, but Jesus would be the creator of all things, like from a Trinitarian perspective. I just saw that in a video. I said it's hugely problematic, but I want to be gracious to Pastor Mike Winger. I like the guy. I think he's a good guy. So, you know, if there was a slip up, if there was some type of misspeaking there, I get it, folks. I did a video, I think it was last week, and I was talking about let me articulate this, provenance of an item, and myself listening to it. I think I said providence a couple of times. It could just be poorly articulated. Maybe I said providence instead of provenance. Again, it was too far into the video. I'm not, I'm not redoing the whole video. I'm not trying to edit and fix it. Just, it is what it is. And if this was a mistake like that on the part of Pastor Mike Winger, I'm not trying to laugh at him. But I think that this is, to me, it's a Freudian slip. The notion, the mystery of the triune God, folks, it's very difficult to speak of the Trinity in a coherent way. And that's not a coherent way of speaking of it. And I honestly think, and Pastor Winger can correct me if I'm wrong, but I honestly think it comes from a place not of intellectual confusion. He clearly understands and can easily articulate the doctrine of the Trinity, but rather from a place of confusion of belief, right? How do you believe that Jesus, the Father, and the Spirit are three separate persons of one being? I don't know. I don't myself, so I can't answer that question. The question is, does Pastor Mike Winger firmly in his heart believe it? Because in that video, it honestly doesn't sound like he does. If you think I'm wrong, you can leave me a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel, whatever you do, don't just sit there, do something.